The first part of the NBA play-in tournament has now been completed for both conferences, and we now know the 7 seeds for this year's playoff picture. Out west, the Lakers got the W over the Golden State Warriors, and now they will face off against one of the biggest surprise teams of this past NBA season, the Phoenix Suns. In today's video, I will be taking a look at the opening round matchup between the Phoenix Suns and Los Angeles Lakers and predicting the series, each team's strengths and weaknesses, the players who need to step up, the key to success, every little detail. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to reach 17,000 subscribers, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's take a look at this first round matchup. The Phoenix Suns were one of the most surprising teams in 2021. With the addition of Chris Paul, they were expected to be a playoff team, but they've gone above and beyond that and have locked up the 2 seed in the Western Conference, which is a huge win for the franchise. With the excellent play of CP3 and Booker continuing, plus the fantastic backup from the supporting cast in guys like DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges, the Suns will be looking to make a historic deep playoff run for the first time since Steve Nash. There's still a handful of unknowns about them, especially considering it will be Booker's first ever playoff appearance, but I think many fans are confident they'll be able to put on a show this postseason. The Lakers did not have the season they had in mind coming off an NBA championship. Their season has been riddled with injuries, and their 2 superstar players in LeBron James and Anthony Davis have both missed significant periods of time in the lead up to the playoffs. This has caused them to tumble down the standings, and they've finished the year as the 7th seed, having to work hard against these scary Golden State Warriors to secure the spot itself in the play-in game. No team in NBA history has ever won a championship from the 7th seed or lower. But if there's any team to do it, it's the Lakers led by LeBron James. If they get in a rhythm, they'll become yet again the team to beat out west, so even though the odds are not in their favor whatsoever, they are not a team that should be counted out. With that being said though, let's take a look at the strengths and weaknesses for each team, starting with the Phoenix Suns. The biggest strength of the Phoenix Suns that I think will be incredibly important for them all playoffs long is their mid-range shooting. The Suns lead the league in mid-range field goal percentage, and their 2 stars, Devin Booker and Chris Paul, rank in the 95th and 93rd percentile for mid-range shooting respectively. That is elite. In the playoffs, that's going to be as important as ever, as series can become slugfests of 1v1 ISOs. Having players who can knock down mid-ranges efficiently and consistently through those ISO plays will be key, as it adds an extra layer of versatility and unpredictability to their offensive scheme. And luckily for Phoenix, they have that in their 2 stars. The Lakers are a great defensive team, so Phoenix will need to rely on all areas of their offense to overcome it. And one area of that is of course mid-range shooting. So again, this is a major key to the Suns' success and could get them over the line in this series. Another big strength of Phoenix's is their defense. Phoenix's defense has been a large part as to why they've been so successful this year, and we've seen players like Mikal Bridges and even DeAndre Ayton lately having career years on that end. As of when writing, they have the 8th best defensive rating in the league, and if that translates into the playoffs, it will give them a great chance to win this round, especially since the Lakers can be so dangerous offensively if LeBron and AD get going. This is a difficult matchup for the Suns, and their defense in particular will need to remain on par if they want to get past the defending champs. So those are the strengths of the Phoenix Suns. But what are their weaknesses? The biggest weakness for the Suns is their rebounding. They rank dead last in offensive rebounds per game and 19th in total rebounds per game. And against the Lakers, who have excellent rebounders in Andre Drummond, Harrell, Anthony Davis, etc., that is a concern. The Suns cannot afford to get out-rebounded constantly in this series, so guys like DeAndre Ayton need to step up and play more physically under the rim. The easy chances will be important for the Lakers if their offense is a bit rusty, so again, this weakness of Phoenix's could end up being the deciding factor in them winning this round or not. So those are the strengths and weaknesses for the Phoenix Suns. What about the Lakers? Easily the biggest strength of the Lakers is their defense. Anchored by Anthony Davis inside, LA is amazing at protecting the paint, and guys like Caruso allow them to have a great defensive presence all over the court. As a result, the Lakers have garnered the top defensive rating in the Western Conference and are able to reduce the efficiency of their opponents quite drastically, with them currently sitting in second for opponent field goal percentage and in third for opponent 3-point percentage in the entire league. Against the Phoenix Suns offense that utilizes many different scorers and playmakers, the Lakers defense will be essential in neutralizing that strength of the Suns. The defense is also going to play a major part in the Lakers being able to go deep these playoffs. Sometimes, particularly in round 1, as they figure out rotation some more, defense will be the thing to keep LA in games, as their offense may struggle. So this strength of the Lakers will be extremely important moving forward. Another strength of LA is their ability to get to the free throw line. The Lakers are a very physical team and as a result, draw a lot of fouls. The good thing is for them is that they're able to make teams pay at the line too, in the NBA's top half for free throw percentage. Obviously, being able to get to the line and knock down shots in the playoffs will be important. I don't mean to have some shallow analysis here, but it's pretty obvious this will be an important strength for the Lakers to utilize this series, especially against the mediocre big man rotation that Phoenix has, as well as putting into consideration how poorly this team shoots from range. Don't get me wrong, Phoenix have good big men, but I think the Lakers can take advantage of them with guys like AD by being physical inside and drawing fouls. So again, this is a good strength of the Lakers to key in on this series. However, a big weakness for the Lakers, as I just mentioned, is their 3-point shooting. They shoot very mediocrely from distance and aren't very consistent from there either, particularly their role players in guys like Kuzma. Most of them aren't consistent threats from downtown, so that could be a concern for them in the playoffs and in particular in the opening round against Phoenix, who have a lot of great perimeter weapons such as CP3 and Mikal Bridges. So those are the strengths and weaknesses of both teams. Now, let's talk about some players that need to step up these playoffs for both teams in order for them to have the best chance at winning this series, starting with the Phoenix Suns. For the Suns, I'm going with Devin Booker, and the reason why I say that is because he's obviously never played in a playoff setting before. We don't know how the playoff atmosphere will affect D-Book, whether he'll elevate his game, be a playoff choker, or remain around the same level. Booker is an instrumental part of the Suns' offense, and it's often down to him and CP3 to create offense late in games, so he needs to continue his excellent play into the playoffs if Phoenix want to go far, and especially if they want to knock off the reigning champs. If he doesn't play at minimum the way he's played overall this season, the Suns are suddenly a lot more beatable, and Chris Paul leading the way will only get them so far. So Booker must make it clear in his playoff series debut that he will be a great playoff player, not just a regular season player. And if he can do that, the Suns have potential to go very far into this postseason. As for the Lakers, I think the supporting cast in general needs to lift. So players like Kuzma, Andre Drummond, KCP, Dennis Schroeder, you know the guys. This is due to the question marks surrounding the health of the superstars LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So if these guys aren't 100% healthy, the rest of the team must step up to get the Lakers over the line. They were able to do it for the most part in the regular season, where they were able to trade water with both AD and LeBron out for that extended period of time. But with both not 100% healthy yet, particularly LeBron, there is still a lot required of them. For the Lakers to do the impossible, for them to cause an upset this round against such a formidable Phoenix side, the supporting cast must lift. It's really that simple. I think the Lakers' success overall in these playoffs will be heavily dependent on their play. This is not a two-man show, and they must prove that in this series. Again, this does come down a bit to the health of LeBron and AD, but I think either way, the role players of this team must step up for the Lakers to truly achieve their dreams of a deep playoff run and to enable them to have a better chance at repeating in 2021. Finally, before we get into my final prediction, what are the keys to success for each team? For the Suns, it'll be about running a good offense. The Lakers are a fantastic defensive team, so it's going to be difficult for the Suns in this series to consistently get those open looks that they normally get. They need to maximize in this series their range of offensive weapons and overall just maximize the talent they have. They're great in the mid-range, they're great inside, and they can shoot well from distance. So to stretch out the Lakers and minimize the impact of their great defensive presences, they need to ensure that their offense is running as well as possible. For the Lakers, I think their key to success comes down to health and defense. As we all know, AD and LeBron have only just recently come back from injury, so the Lakers are probably still going to be trying to figure out rotations during this series, which is obviously not a great thing during prime time of the NBA season. So at times in this series, their offense and lineups may be a bit clunky and not very beneficial for them to win games. In order to stay afloat, their defense will be key, as Phoenix rely heavily on their two superstars in Chris Paul and Devin Booker to get them going in games offensively. If the Lakers' defense can continue to be great, they are going to be in the best position possible to win this series. And also, if guys like AD and LeBron can stay healthy and get back to 100% near the end of the series, they're going to be even scarier and potentially look like favorites to come out of the West. So again, making sure their defense is on point and having their two superstars back to full health by some point in the series will be key to them moving on to the second round. But with that all being said, after looking at each team's strengths and weaknesses, the keys to success, and the players who need to step up, who wins this series? The Lakers or the Suns? I'm going to have to go with the Phoenix Suns in 7 games, and here's why. Though I really don't want to go against LeBron James, and I feel like I will regret doing so, I just have too many questions and concerns about the Lakers' health and overall team. LeBron's already tweaked his ankle twice and has had to sit as a result. Is he going to be able to hold up in a 7-game series? Who knows, but I don't have enormous confidence. The Lakers also have heaps of things to figure out rotation-wise in this series too, as the injuries of AD and LeBron have not allowed for them to find their perfect lineups during the regular season as most teams would have. They're still figuring things out, asking questions about the fit of some players next to others, and they're doing that in the prime time of the NBA season. That's not a good thing, and against such a formidable team like the Suns, I think that will negatively influence their chances in this series. It's not just about the Lakers being unlucky though. I think the Suns are also a team built for the playoffs. They've got the offensive versatility to see them go far. Chris Paul will be critical for them, and the team is also great defensively. I think they'll be able to handle the slower pace of the playoffs. They have a lot of crafty scorers who don't need set plays to get good looks, so I think for that reason, they'll be able to come out on top. My biggest question for them is in regards to Anthony Davis and if someone will be able to minimize his impact consistently over 4 games. And that's why I feel like it's only right to have this go to 7 games, as realistically, this matchup can go either way. The Lakers could stay healthy, get in their rhythm, and go back to the elite level team we know, or the Suns could prove that their star duo of Booker and Paul is enough to see them go deep into the postseason. It's going to be a hell of a dogfight of a series, and again, there are so many unknowns on both sides, making it hard to predict. But considering that there's a lot more questions about the Lakers and their legitimacy right now, even though it feels wrong to question the king, I'm going to have to go with the Phoenix Suns to win this series in 7 games and move on to the next round. I can't be mad if you have the Lakers winning. It is certainly a toss-up, but again, I just can't go past the Suns after the great play that they've displayed throughout the 2021 NBA season. So I've got them taking the W this series. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? Who do you have winning this series? The Suns or the Lakers, and in how many games? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.